once again. You are welcome to Academia Channels. Today we want to continue from where we stopped on the correction to the director's tests. Now, question number 4. Given an operation star is defined on the set R of real numbers by P star Q is equal to P plus Q plus 2PQ, full stop. If the identity element is 0, find the inverse element in terms of P. Find the value of P for which the operation has no inverse. You can pause the video and write the question down properly. Now, we are given that P star Q is P plus Q plus 2PQ. We want to find the inverse elements in terms of P. Solution: the identity element is 0. P star Q is P plus Q plus 2PQ. So we can actually have this in such a way that the identity element is 0. Then the inverse element, we have to change this to the inverse of P. So P star P inverse and perform the operation. P plus P inverse plus 2P P inverse. So, and if the identity element is 0, it means that P star E must be P. So P star E must be P, and at the same time P star P inverse must give us the identity element. So that is the definition of identity element. So P star P inverse must give us the identity element, and by operating the operation of P star Q equal to P plus Q plus 2PQ, by P star P inverse, we are going to change Q to P inverse, and that is what we have there. Now this is P star P inverse, and this is also P star P inverse, which is equal to identity element. That means this will be equal to this. So we are going to have E is P plus P inverse plus 2P P inverse, and we have been given that that identity element is 0. Therefore, P plus P inverse plus 2P P inverse is equal to 0. Now we bring this one here. Minus P will be P inverse plus 2P P inverse. Minus P is P inverse is common, 1 plus 2P. So P inverse, as the subject of the formula, will give us minus P over 1 plus 2P. So minus P over 1 plus 2P. So that is the inverse element in terms of P. So that's the inverse element in terms of P. And that answers the first question. So the second question is that if you look at the question, we should find the value of P for which the operation has no inverse. So the value of P for which the binary operation star has no inverse. So that is to tell us that if it is going to have no inverse, that is, the inverse is not defined. To have no inverse means that inverse is not defined. So the inverse is not defined, and for this inverse not to be defined, it means that we are going to have the denominator to be equal to 0. So the only condition that you can have this to be undefined, that is, if P P inverse is equal to undefined. So P inverse is undefined. The value of P for which star has no inverse is when the inverse of P is not defined, and that can only happen if P inverse is minus P over 0. So that is what will give us an undefined value for P inverse. So, and for the denominator to be 0, it means that 1 plus 2P is 0. Therefore, 1 plus 2P is equal to 0. 2P will be minus 1, and P is minus 1 over 2. So that is the value of P for which the operation has no inverse. Once again, thank you for following us on this example, and in our next video we look forward to see you again on this channel. So until then, thank you. You're welcome.